All right. I'm going to say good evening, everybody, although this is actually a redo because despite the post-it note on my computer screen to start the recording when the webinar started, I failed to start it. So unfortunately, it is missing some of the good questions that were asked, but I did include I did remember to start recording when we went to asking group questions and stuff, so that'll be included at the end. But I'm going to go through my presentation minus the questions. So, social proof, defining and exploring best practices for small businesses. I look a lot darker and more tired than this afternoon. Anyway, and you know, the webinar would be recorded, except it wasn't. So what is social proof? Social proof, Wikipedia defines social proof as a psychological phenomenon where people assume the actions of the others in an area in an attempt to reflect the correct behaviors. This generally happens when they're unfamiliar with the situation. So if they're unfamiliar with situations like what products to buy in a certain situation, that is an example of social proof. And I generally break down the common types of social proof that are utilized in marketing and social media into 3 categories, although there is sometimes overlap in it. Types of social proof. So first category I have is recommendations and endorsements. And that includes an expert stamp of approval, a celebrity endorsement, as well as user recommendations. Those are all pretty self-explanatory. The only thing that I want to add in there is those are all unpaid. In order for it to be social proof, they have to be unpaid. Which leads us into unpaid marketing. Earned, not paid media. So any appearance in a newspaper that's not a paid advertisement, on a TV program, or on the radio, anything that's not paid is earned media. And that is an example of social proof, as well as social media exposure. And it's important to not undervalue the impact of social media posts. Shares and just the overall number of the post can actually impact the customer's decision to choose you. Enough positive shares on your content, on your social network, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, can be all the proof that somebody needs. The next is peer-to-peer recommendations. Peer-to-peer recommendations of products result in consumers being over 80% more likely to purchase the recommended product. Word of mouth social proof is one of the most potent and common forms of social proof. So what I asked in the webinar is, what's the difference between a user recommendation and a peer recommendation? And the difference really is a user recommendation is any user. A peer recommendation is from a user that falls into the audience that you're targeting. So say you're targeting male 18 to 25. If you have somebody who's male 18 to 25 that's providing a recommendation, that's a peer recommendation for that group. If you have somebody that's a 40-year-old male providing a recommendation, it's not a peer recommendation, it's a user recommendation. So that's really the difference between those two things. A peer recommendation holds much more value to the other people in your audience that are that specific target than a user recommendation. So that's why the number is also huge, 80% more likely to buy a recommended product. So social proof in small businesses. As a small business, you want reviews. What you really do is phenomenal work. As a business, you want reviews. You really do want reviews. It's a phenomenal form of social proof, and it's a great way to validate your brand story. And I know businesses are afraid of the bad review. When you're dealing with the public, it is always a possibility, and you cannot be afraid of it. Don't discount the value of a positive review because you might get a couple negative reviews. If you think you're going to get a lot of negative reviews, really look at your service. Look at yourself. What are you doing that you could be better at that will eliminate these negative reviews. Because if they're not a coincidence, if they're not just part of the bell curve, then there's other issues to deal with. But if it's part of the bell curve, don't eliminate reviews, because the benefit of having them far outweighs the cost of a couple negative reviews that you can handle and actually turn into a positive situation. So, some good ideas versus bad ideas when we're talking reviews. Well, mostly reviews. Good idea, adopt that dog. Other good ideas, encouraging all customers to write reviews, sharing your good reviews on social media. Make it easy to review. The easier it is for people to review, the more reviews you're going to get. So make sure that you provide the link. Let them do it right there. Include as much information as they might need. Allow customers to write a review on whatever platform they wish. There was actually a question in the webinar about doing it on all the platforms. Don't ask your customers to do it on all the platforms. It is enough that they do it on one. You can share that on your website in some way by creating graphics that kind of talk about your reviews and stuff like that. Having a Google My Business page is important. Claiming your Yelp page is also important. Responding to every review, good or bad. We had a discussion about this. The reason that you need to respond to every review, good or bad, is you need to thank your customers for giving a good review. If you thank your customers for giving a good review, you're going to get more good reviews. And dealing with bad reviews by responding and asking the details and solving the problem will help you get rid of negative reviews on your profile and improve them. Any engagement on reviews is positive. Encourage customers to review as a way to help out their peers. I think that's an interesting tactic for getting more reviews, but it's also why people review businesses. They want to help out their peers. So targeting that thought process is a good way to get additional reviews. And a good idea is to fix the issues in a negative review and ask the customer if they don't mind deleting or editing the review. Fix the issue first. Fix the issue first, and then ask them to change the review. Something that Arson brought up in the conversation was a lot of his negative reviews are because of price, and things are expensive. And I am sure that Arson actually delivers a great value for what he offers. However, his people, his customers may not know how great this value is. So for him, it's a great opportunity for him to discuss on his social media, on his website, the real value of the services he offers. Why his services are so expensive, because of everything that they come with. And once they understand the real value of what is offered, they're less likely to complain about the price of it. It's perceived value that's going to make the difference there. All right, bad ideas. Jumping off a bridge, like those people did, or are going to. Not allowing customers to review your business is a bad decision. Only displaying 5-star reviews. So I asked why only displaying 5-star reviews would be a bad thing. Dog shaking. And the reason is, people know you work with the public, you're going to get bad reviews. You're not going to get all 5-star reviews. So what are you hiding when you only put up 5-star reviews? Not responding to every single review is a bad idea. Paying for reviews or testimonials, bad idea. Google, Yelp, TripAdvisor all have strict no paid testimonial, and that includes free products and discounts. Ignoring negative reviews and continuing making similar mistakes. If you get a negative review and it's something that you can solve, if it's a pain point in your business, if it's something that is seriously something that you can make better, fix it. Respond to the negative review. Let them know you fixed it. And make sure it works going forward. A negative review actually may not be the worst thing. I have, with a couple clients, used the negative review to show how they respond to feedback. and how they made changes based on the feedback that they were provided to deliver a better customer experience. You can do that. You can turn a negative review around and make it very positive because people love to see that you listen to them. Not engaging your biggest supporters. People that take the time to write a positive review are people that you should know. They're your biggest supporters. And in my past life, I had their emails and I would personally email them as the store manager, as whatever my role was. I would personally email them and contact them and talk to them regularly, keep them engaged, move them on down to becoming customers for life. Excuse me. So remember that your marketing team isn't the only person promoting your business. It's actually very important to remember. I should be looking more at my people who aren't present today. Remember, your marketing team isn't the only one promoting your brand. Loyal customers are doing an amazing job promoting your brand, spreading the word about your business, leaving reviews, referring their friends, making your business a part of their everyday life. They don't become advocates out of nowhere. You need to nurture those relationships and really engage them. And ways to nurture those relationships: ask for feedback. Streamline your operations if you can. Pay attention to their pain points. Personalize your communication. Remember, take notes about what they say, what they do from one time to the next. Remember them and eliminate pain points. Again, in my past life, there were many pain points that we hit that were just pain points for the sake of being pain points. And we had to look at whether the cost of eliminating them was greater than the benefit of eliminating them. And if the benefit is greater than eliminating those pain points, eliminate them. Figure out a way to make them go away. Your customers will appreciate it. They'll appreciate the extra effort that you're putting in, and it'll make a huge difference for all the people that didn't even know those pain points existed when they come through. Really builds the overall feel of your brand and helps you win there. So user-generated content and social media shoutouts. User-generated content is really defined as content that's created by anybody that's not the brand or a collaborating brand. So quick question. And only one person got this right on the webinar. But a social media user creates a post on their social feed that highlights your products or services. They get all the key details right. They even include a link to the product and service. If this happens to you, what do? Do you immediately share the post? Do you immediately block the customer and hope nobody sees the post? Do you ignore the post but be happy that people are talking? Or do you thank the customer for the kind words and link to their profile in your social media stories? Or none of the above? The test taker group selected none of the above, because when there's none of the above, it's usually none of the above. And they're right. But there's a reason. You cannot immediately share the post on all your social media profiles because you need to get permission to share the post from the content creator. Obviously, you don't want to immediately block them. You don't want to ignore the post but be happy that people are talking, because it's an opportunity for you to magnify your audience and magnify your story by having this social proof saying, these people are doing what they're saying they're doing. And thanking the customer is great. Great to thank them for their kind words. Include that in your conversation with them. But it's an opportunity for you to include your story and support it with what they've created. So you don't necessarily want to link to their profiles. You want to link to your profiles or link to your product. And in some cases, you can do this in your feed, not even in stories, depending on how good the content is. So why should you use user-generated content? because consumers are 2.4 times more likely to view user-generated content as authentic. They don't trust brands because it's my job and it's the brand's job to spin it a little bit. I don't lie, but I do highlight the positive more for a business than I'm going to highlight a negative. So it's really authentic content that these people are supporting your story, that you do these things and you do them well. 90% of consumers say that user-generated content influences their purchasing decisions. That's huge. And user-generated content is marketing in its purest form. It's credible, it's authentic, and we trust it because it's coming from people like us. That's why we believe it. They're not going to lie to us. They're like us. This was a huge number for me. User-generated content displayed on the product page can increase conversions by 64%. It's a huge number. They're on that product page. They're deciding if they want to use it or not. They see that user-generated content or that review, and that's increasing by 64%. User-generated content can improve your SEO, and it's a content creator goldmine. We love it. I told the story about when I was working for Urban Jungle, and we created a user-generated content promotion, for lack of a better term, in March for plants behaving badly. They were a younger brand, kind of on the cutting edge. Their customers were young, hip people, and we asked them to take pictures of their plants that they'd purchased from Urban Jungle behaving badly. We got pictures of plants smoking, pictures of plants skinny dipping, pictures of plants drinking in bars. And it was our March promotion, and I got probably about 25 user-generated posts that I could use during that month. I didn't have to create any content. It was unbelievable. We ran it every March. So, who remembers the Ice Bucket Challenge? When I asked this on the webinar, people remembered it. It's possibly one of the most effective user-generated content campaigns ever. And it generated $115 million for the ALS Association. We can watch the video, but it's people dumping ice buckets on their head. What's more impressive is it costs $0. So always thank the customer for a shout out or social media post. Ask if they're okay with if you share it with your followers. Spread out user-generated content posts. If you get 5 posts in a week and none the next week, don't post all 5 in a week. You want to vary your content. So you want to spread that out over the course of 5 weeks, maybe 1 a week. Use branded hashtags to collect user-generated content. It allows you to focus your users on what content you're looking for, which is the next point. You should tell your followers what kind of content you want. Encourage customers to provide user-generated content when making a purchase or provide opportunities on site. So what might this look like? I believe I used the example. Lizzie was on the conference call, and she has a construction company. And I said, well, if you build somebody a deck, encourage them to take a picture of them enjoying their deck and tag you. Post it on their social media, tag you. And what does that look like for you then to be able to share that? Ask them if you can share it. Share that on your social media. It's not a nitty-gritty, down and dirty, I'm building this deck picture. It's the result. It's the happiness that the family gets enjoying that deck. That's more powerful than building the deck. That's a real emotion that people can identify with and people will be happy about. And that's a great way to show off the great work that you do. And you can ask them to do that when you're building the deck. Like, hey, when I'm done, you should take some pictures of this out here and like enjoying it and stuff and share it with us. People will most likely do that if you ask them. Again, kind of put it as, you're helping your peers know what we can deliver. Well, generally you don't share social media shout outs on your feed. You may do so in your story, but even if you're not sharing them, you should acknowledge them. If more than one person appears in your user-generated content, you may need a release signed by the models. Technically, if anybody appears in it, you need a release signed by the models, but if they provide you the okay to share it, you're assuming that they're the person in the photo. Yes, if you're using it, as we'll talk about here, if you're using it for paid advertisements, dot all your I's, cross all your T's. Because in a paid advertisement with all out the proper releases and agreements, you're going to want to see your lawyer, because the rights to the photo belong to the person who took the photo. And if you're making money off of that photo, the person who took the photo has rights to that money. So avoid all of that by getting the proper sign-offs. So what is an example of a killer piece of user-generated content for your business? I believe it was Mel who said she's really enjoying, the user-generated content that she's getting about her online webinars, because it's telling a story about things that she can't really verbalize from the presenter's point of view. And the connections that are being made and all those stories that she's seeing is hugely valuable for her. Keeps her going, but also provides kind of an insight into what the group really provides. And those are all great things that she should be sharing in her groups, on her social media, so that people understand the value of the groups. I believe we talked a little bit about Robin, who's a real estate agent, and saying that a great user-generated content post for her would be somebody who used Robin to sell their house, and putting the sold sticker out there with Robin, stuff like that. Opportunities to really highlight things that Robin does from the user's point of view. All right. Influencer marketing. Influencer marketing can be a cost-efficient way of getting celebrity social proof. It's prevalent on Instagram. People use it all the time. And what usually happens is a brand pays or sponsors an influencer or micro-influencer, a person with a strong social media influence in their niche, to post about their products. Because this person is an influencer, micro-influencer, they're really celebrities to their niche audience. When others see them with a particular product, they're going to transfer the positive attributes that they see in the celebrities to the product, and boom, you have a celebrity endorsement, sort of. But it's really good enough as a celebrity endorsement. It's a winning endorsement. People say, oh, yeah, so they're just there to get the money, blah, blah, blah. They're not. There are bad influencers out there. I'm not going to tell you there's not bad influencers out there, but there's amazing influencers out there as well. There are good influencers out there. There's a lot of good influencers out there, and there's a lot of influencers that can help your business. So my friend Danny, Blonde in the District, is an influencer in beauty, fashion, lifestyle, and was recently named best fashion blogger by Northern Virginia Magazine. Sweetest, hardest working, smartest blogger I've ever met. She understands the value in what she does for businesses and for herself. With over 82,000 followers, when I meet her in DC and we go outside of wherever we're meeting, people walk up to her and go, oh my God, I love your post. Oh my God, I bought your dress because of this. Oh my God, I did this. Danny is a mini celebrity. People will do what Danny says to do. Wield your power, do good, not evil. But no joke, they do. And, every time I've gone up there the last few times I've seen her, people recognize her on the street. It's no joke in the marketing world, and it has great potential. So keys to influencer marketing. You need to select the right influencer for your audience. Make sure who it is you want to target, and then find an influencer or micro influencer for us smaller businesses, micro influencers in that field that you can tap into. Have a plan to create the content that people will want to view. Go over that with the influencer you select, but then relinquish creative control. It's hard for us, but do it. Let it go. The reason being, if you had the way into the audience like this influencer did, you'd already be in there. This influencer knows that audience. They know they will follow them. They know what content to post that is supported by what they're doing and what their audience wants to see. They know it better than you. Let them do it. Some people will disagree with me. They want it to be on brand. I say those people are wrong. Just me. Allowed to have other opinions. I don't think they're allowed to have other opinions. Make sure that they're shaping the content for the platforms they'll be using. Make sure your influencers, which they will, but they know how to disclose paid partnership on social media and does so on every post. Set expectations with the influencer on the number of posts for a campaign and how those posts will be shared, which will play a role in how much it's going to cost. Provide trackable calls to action. Measure, 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 and build long-term relationships. It's incredibly, I've worked with Danny with a number of brands across a number of projects over the 4 years, 4 years I've known her. She's grown. She was, I believe, 20,000 followers when we first engaged her, to now she has 82 or 83,000 followers. So she's grown. But she's always been supportive of anything I really bring to her, and really collaborative in how we look to promote certain things. So building a long-term relationship with that influencer can pay off in any number of ways in the future. All right. So before we break into questions, I'm going to do a couple things here. Some housekeeping stuff. To continue the conversation, join the Social Life group by JRH Graphics on Facebook. Again, it's the Social Life, 1L, so SOCIALIFE. One word, 1L, on Facebook. Like JRH Graphics on Facebook. Follow JRH _graphics on Instagram and Twitter. I will be emailing the links to slides out for the presentation tomorrow, and the webinar will be posted on YouTube. And if you would kindly review JRH Graphics on Facebook, Google, etc., that would be greatly appreciated. The link will be provided in the follow-up email, as well as reviewing me on this webinar, reviewing me in your interactions with me. So far, you don't have to review me as the business overall, because you may not know me in that sense, but reviewing me on the information I provided you. And I hope you guys benefited from that. I hope you're taking away some things, and I'm actually going to splice in the conversation we had after the presentation with this video. All right, guys, thank you very much, and have a wonderful day. Have any other questions about social proof, anything? I can see you all now. It's very nice. Anything we went over? Yes, Melanie.
I think it's interesting is, people are asking me in the journey of trying to become visible, of, trying to get, as you say, to the micro influencer level themselves. Mm-hmm. Somebody just mentioned earlier the question about how do you come up with content that goes viral? I have seen so many videos about dogs today. On whatever the theme day is, mm-hmm. I almost to the point where I'm going to teach Jonathan where his two fur babies. But I find it interesting is people are trying to go through this journey of creating content that, thank you, of creating this content that kind of inspires, mm-hmm. and we're just entrepreneurs, trying to make a living most of the time. So if someone was trying to start from scratch, and has the concept, as you're saying, whether it's having a testimonial and wanting it to be seen, where in the world do they start as an entrepreneur to create social proof?
You know, it's not easy. It's not, there's no like, oh, yeah, we're going to start right here and do it. Asking for reviews. I was talking with a business that called me for a consultation last week, and they're starting an app, and they don't really know where to go. And I was like, you know what? You got to start. You have to start getting the reviews when people are testing. And you know what? They're not all going to be great because you're in a testing phase, but you can grow from those. And then the good ones are so you start the foundation of your social proof. The other thing is, you know, and people like to gloss over this, but if you have problems with your business, you need to fix them. You know, and there we all have pain points in our business, but we can't ignore them because as you're getting reviews and stuff that are saying, hey, you have this problem with your business, it's, you know, that's what people are seeing. And you know what they say, you know, perception is reality. And if they see you as having a problem, then that's going to be the reality for you. So you really need to look at those problems and fix them as soon as you can. And fixing them actually creates an additional layer of social proof for those negative reviews.
Okay.
And having your story to tell and telling your story. Again, I always go back to those stories, but having your story to tell and telling your story creates some proof and authenticity in you that will translate to your followers. It'll build a following. Any other questions? Yes, Elizabeth.
I have less of a question.
Different Elizabeth, I guess.
Sorry.
Oh.
I'm Lizzie. I'll be Lizzie.
I have less of a question and I'm more of a filler to add with when you're just starting to, as you build that community, it's important to recognize the community individually and bring them together. If you're just posting your story or if you're just talking about pain points and fixing them and engaging in reviews, that provides a certain level of content, but you actually have to make a relationship with the people that you're talking to. And that's how you go from a micro influencer to a bigger influencer. It's those micro actions with those individual people at the onset. And I believe Jonathan talked about that right at the beginning of his presentation, where it's those direct engagements and bringing them in that can help you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But
you really do want to create a group. You know, groups are great if you're actually using them the right way. You want to make sure that you're engaging with the people, you're creating real relationships with the people, and you're sharing things about your life as well as your business. You know, whatever you decide is a part of your life that belongs in your business, and it should be authentic and it should be real, but it can be, you don't have to put everything out there. Some people do, and that works for them. Other people don't, you know, but being real is one of those things that will create followers. People like to see things that are real.
I find that it helps if you focus on the content that provides you the biggest return in your investment.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're generating the content, that's what you're focusing on. When you're generating blogs or information about your business, you gear it towards what you're making the most money off of.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else have anything to add? Nothing, Rich?
No.
Shocked. Amy, you got anything to type in there? I see you down there. And Arsam's here too. All right, take attendance.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Do you have anything to add, sir?
I just want to say most of the time a negative review is because the customer thinks they have paid too much money. That's probably the only reason why they would put a negative review. So I would try to convince them that it's really, they're not really being charged too much money.
Okay. You know, Arson, one of the things that you should do on your social media is highlight the benefits of the services that you offer and what makes them special, because that'll help people see the value in your services. Because that's something, it's not an easy thing to do, but if people see the value in your services, they're less likely to give you a negative review because of price. Because I've seen people priced, I mean, astronomically high, and they just keep getting positive reviews because people see they're highlighting the features, whatever they may be, real or fake, but you know, they're highlighting features that people see value in. And it's the perceived value that, you know, is what people generally comment on.
Yeah, it's all about value.
Yep. Yes, Amy, I saw you hashtag today just for me. I appreciated that. Anything else, guys? Well,
If
then
you get a bad review and you want it, one of the ways that you can make it so it's not as highlighted in your profile is, as Jonathan says, is you go and correct it. But then after that, if you have other reviews that are 5 stars within that feed and you engage with those, they will start popping up higher than that bad review.
What do
Also,
you
if
mean by that? Can you explain that?
Okay, so if you have a Google review that's 6 months old, that's more positive than the most recent one. If you start engaging with that review and you comment to that user and say, oh, thanks for the review and thanks for this, that, or the other thing, you lead with gratitude, that post that was older will go higher up in your feed.
Got it.
Okay, that's just one of those things to make it so it's almost like you're burying the bad review.
Yeah.
Okay, Jonathan, I have a question that just popped into my head.
Yes, ma'am.
You were mentioning about, sorry, I'm driving to another meeting. You were mentioning about putting all of your positive reviews or user content or whatever on all of your platforms. So could I copy and paste an Angie's List review and put it on my Facebook?
You could. What I would recommend is creating a graphic. And actually, I did my slides today on Adobe Spark. Adobe Spark offers a great, you know, basic creation of graphics kind of tool that you can put the chunk,
Okay.
a highlight of it in some words, you know, nice branded looking piece, and post that on your Facebook. And then with the link,
Adobe Highlights?
Adobe Spark. And I can send you that.
Okay.
Yep, I'll send you that link in the follow-up, so you'll have that. It's a great tool.
Okay.
It's really,
Okay.
you know, it's really something that everybody. It's similar to Canva, but really something that everybody can use. Yes, Richard.
Okay.
You gotta kind of watch for duplicate content there too.
Right.
Duplicate content's a big no-no.
Yeah.
So if someone already has it on one site and you put it on yours, yeah, Google doesn't like that. The search engines don't like that.
Right. But if it's posted on your social media, it doesn't create the duplicate content, right?
You know what? Everybody says this to take screenshots of it anyway. It's always safer.
So one of the things to make it so it's different for your SEO content, if it's within your website, like Jonathan said, if it's on a social media platform in a post, it's not going to take away from your website SEO. But if you have a graphic that has a positive review, you can use a couple of the words that have the positive review underneath in the picture description, and then a couple numbers, and Google really likes that. If you take the picture, you do a couple words that are your keywords within that review, and then the numbers, it will not compete with with the Google review itself on your business page, if that makes sense, because it's deemed as different content.
Okay.
So putting it into the graphic makes it so you can duplicate the content and have it so it's not exactly verbatim, and it messes with the bots, the algorithms. They'll pick it up in a favorable light.
Okay, and then I've got another question.
Go ahead.
Full of questions.
Hey.
Okay, so I find it. When I got married, I had a DJ who was wonderful, and he asked me to review him on Wedding Wire, this website, 5 different websites, right? And I'm a very lovely person, so I did all that. But I don't want to bother my customers to review me on every reviewable site.
Don't ask them to review you and let them choose whatever site they want to review you on.
Okay.
And you know, like we said with the creating the graphic, and that's what I did with my reviews, because I had them on multiple different, you know, platforms. I created a graphic for them and put them and then shared them on my website. Since I got to rework it. I'll talk to that Richard about that, but you know, like I've shared them on my website, and that's where they kind of sat, and it did well for me. But I don't
Okay.
ask them to put it on every place. Give them the opportunity to put it wherever they want. And you should be making sure that you're checking all the places, but you know, make sure that let them
Okay.
put it where they want. Ask them to review you. Give them links. They can choose one.
Okay.
All right. All right. Anything else? Going once, calling twice. All right. Thank you guys very much. I appreciate it. I hope everybody
Okay.
learned at least one thing. And I'll send out the follow-up tomorrow, so you'll have it.
At least one.
Okay. Excellent.
Cool.
All right. Take care, guys.
Thanks, Jonathan.
Thanks,
It's been a
Jonathan.
pleasure.
Have a great
Easy.
night.
Thank you. Thank
Great
you.
night.
Tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye, Jonathan. Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you.